Uncommitted your junior year? Before you panic, make sure to take a deep breath. Plenty of players, myself included, committed in their senior year or later. In this video, I'm gonna share with you exactly what to do if you're still uncommitted. Now, before we get started, my name is Evan Mendoza and I've played 3 years at the D1 level at NC State University. I've also played 7 years of professional baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. Now, I help high school baseball players play at the next level. And if you haven't already and you like videos like this, make sure to go down below and subscribe. All right, step number 1, realize you're actually not behind. This is actually your junior year is when the recruiting process actually gets going for a good majority of players. So the recruiting timeline isn't the same for every player, and it really has a large impact on your projectability and where you're currently at as far as your skills. There's also late commitments that happen all the time between D1, D2, D3, and even JUCO and NAIA. So just keep that in mind. Also, some D1 schools will actually wait until senior year to finalize those roster spots. And I know it's hard. Sometimes, your senior year, if you're still uncommitted, you feel like they've already created all their spots. And, just from my experience playing at the D1 level at NC State, there were times where our actual roster was not actually finalized until winter break, right before the season was actually going to get started. So step 2, reevaluate your target schools. Guys, if your target school is LSU throughout your freshman and senior year and you're still not hearing a peep from them, or University of Tennessee, maybe we need to gauge a little bit better on what our projected school might be, right? And ideally, we want to go to a school where we're going to be able to play. We don't want to go to a school where we're just never going to be able to play and ride the bench 24/7. So reevaluate those schools. And are you only looking at D1 schools? Are we looking at D2 schools or D3 or JUCOs, right? Expanding that target list, making sure that we're, casting a wider net is a huge, huge thing that you need to make sure that you're ultimately doing. If you want a proven recruiting strategy, so that way one day you can play college baseball, make sure to go down below in the description to book a call with me. All right, step number 3, make sure that you update your recruiting material. And what do I mean by recruiting material? Well, that means your highlight videos. That means all of your stats. Make sure that they're up to date and they're the most recent version of what you bring to the table. If it's not the most recent, maybe that is truly the reason why college coaches keep passing you up. So make sure that you have a fresh highlight video, is well-paced, it has good rhythm to it, and that way these college coaches don't waste their time looking at a bunch of dead space in a highlight video. And make sure that you also try your best to include some defensive highlights, and that doesn't necessarily mean just in the game, because defense highlights are incredibly hard to find in high school baseball just because there's typically not a TV crew all across the country in that specific game. So if you're even just creating the showcase environment of you taking some ground balls in the middle of you, maybe to your left and right, and then you come in and grab one, these are like on a slow roller. These are all things that you can do with a simple tripod, just like I'm recording this video. And then of course you hit the ground balls, or someone hits the ground balls to yourself, and that way you're able to create that defensive highlight. So make sure you update that with the best of your abilities, so that way college coaches know that these are updated stats, updated highlight videos. All right, now step number 4, attend the right showcases and camps. Guys, if you're just going to random college camps that haven't had much communication back and forth, that is not the right way to go about it. Ultimately, if you're just going about it where you're going to random camps that you have interest in, but they don't have any interest in you, they're not going to truly evaluate you because you're not on that short list. Ultimately, you want to be on that short list where they actually have intention of evaluating you at the evaluation event. So guys, just keep that in mind. If you're not going to a camp to get evaluated, you're kind of wasting your time, energy, and really your money as well. Make sure also to keep performing and stay ready. Guys, you never know when that time's gonna hit. Personally, for me, from my experience, I pitched extremely well when it mattered. So some might say the stars aligned. In my ability and my thought process, I was prepared for when the time hit me, right? I pitched in a Final Four game at a WWBA in a perfect game in East Cobb, Georgia. The NC State recruiting coordinator was there to watch me, and I threw a complete game shutout in I think like 68 pitches or something like that. So that was a true test of like showing what I was able to do. There was also 2 base runners that game that I picked off both of them. So there was truly like no base runners that got to second base. That is an extreme case of just performing when it matters, and ultimately led to landing college scholarships. And I'll never forget, my travel ball coach shook my hand at the end of the game, congratulated me on such a great game pitching, but then also he said the words, now you get to choose where you want to go play college baseball. And ultimately, that's what I want for you as well. All right, step number 6, keep an open mind about your path ahead. And again, guys, JUCO, D3, D2, it doesn't have to be D1 or bust. Ultimately, an opportunity is an opportunity. So just make sure that we're casting our net wide enough so that way we're able to hit different D1, D2, D3, maybe JUCO schools when we're outreaching to these college coaches trying to initiate conversations. So just the key is basically on the field and continuing your overall development. That's probably one of the biggest keys that I can give you at any point in time in your entire baseball career. Guys, if we continue to develop our skills, there's gonna be a time where maybe we have a crazy growth spurt, and that's gonna lead to the performance out there on the field that college coaches will ultimately notice. So just keep developing, keep your head down, and continue to work, even though you're not seeing the results immediately. Step number 7, stay mentally tough and persistent. Guys, this is probably one of the biggest ones, and if I gave you a bonus tip in addition to that last step, it's really just to make sure that these college coaches know who you are, and you're not just sending one email to them. If you truly 100% without a doubt want to play college baseball, you should be emailing these college coaches until you get a response. And if that response is please stop spamming me, that is a response. And ultimately that's showing that they got the email, number 1, but number 2, that they probably don't have any interest in you, which would be the best. But ideally you want to be as persistent as possible, especially if you're on the cusp. If you're on the cusp of landing a college scholarship, you're getting some, communication with college coaches, be as persistent, because some college coaches might get irritated from that. Some college coaches are going to view that as, wow, this guy is hungry. This guy wants it. He has the drive not only on the field in his performance, his development, but also in the recruiting process. Being an uncommitted junior does not mean that you're running out of time. It ultimately means you just have to be strategic. Keep improving, expand your options, and ultimately trust the process, guys. If you want to know what college coaches are actually looking for in the recruiting process, make sure to check out this full video on your screen right now.